Okay, now let's take a look at how a deep canvas scene comes together. This is a great example. This is a wonderful shot. This starts out like any deep canvas scene. It starts out with a camera move, a fully realized camera move through geometric shapes that are fairly simple, but they represent the shapes of the jungle. They represent the trees and the canopies that the character will be interacting with. The next thing that happens is that the animator goes through and for every single one of those drawings, and there's 24 per second, he has to draw the character in place, interacting with the environment. And when it's done well, it's amazing. The next thing that we do is we flesh out the background a lot more. We add more detail to it, more moss, more canopies, more areas of the jungle that the character isn't interacting with that weren't as important before, just to create a greater sense of environment. Now we get to the interesting part of the deep canvas process, because here the painter actually applies paint and constructs the painting the way he normally would on a canvas, only in this case he uses a computer and a stylus. The advantage of that is that the computer can remember every single brushstroke that the painter is painting, what color it was, where it was, how hard he was pressing, and the computer can then repaint that painting as many times as it needs in order to create a moving background. So after the painter has painted for a little while, we then render a test to see how it looks in motion. And this is an example of a test after the painter had only painted a few areas of the painting. But we wanted to see it all moving just to make sure that it was all working so far. And it gives us an idea of what to do next. You know, we look at the thing moving and we decide, okay, now let's work on this area over here. Let's flesh this out. That part's not working. We need to repaint that. It's a way to check our progress. Okay, so now that the painter has painted a little while longer, more areas are all fleshed out and fully realized as paintings. The painter has also added a lot of canopies of leaves now, which are interesting because they're actually brushstrokes hovering in midair, unlike the tree trunks where the brushes all seem to land on the tree trunk. In the case of the canopies of leaves, each leaf is represented by an individual brushstroke, which is in effect hanging in midair, which is something that we've never quite seen before. So here we have the entire foreground element, which is the tree that Tarzan is actually touching, is a completed painting now. You can see everything's in place. There's no gaps anymore. It's all it's painted from every angle. The only thing that's missing now is the very farthest background level, which we'll put in the next test. And here's the scene as we see it in the final film. It's all complete. Everything's in there. The full background is back there. We've got light beams. We've got effects levels where Tarzan is kicking up leaves. We've got the full lighting on Tarzan with tones and shadows. It's all